Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Maria Yenga. Today we are going to be making this beautiful Zara dress with pleats on the shoulders. If this is what you're interested in, kindly subscribe and let's get into today's tutorial. Today we are using a pattern paper, so I'm going to draw these lines that will serve as our guidelines for our draft pattern that we are going to make. If you want, you can also make these lines that will serve as your guidelines. We are going to start by marking our neckline. Go in by 3 inches and then downwards you can go down by 2 inches or 1.5 inches or 2.5 inches. I went down by 2 inches for my neckline because that's how I want my neckline to look like. So then you go ahead and make a curve for your neckline. And then next you're going to mark your shoulder to shoulder measurement divided by 2. What you get, mark it right there. And then you're going to go downwards by 1 inch from the point that you've just marked for the shoulder to shoulder measurement. Go downwards by 1 inch and then you're going to connect that point that you've just marked to the neckline point up there, like you see me doing, guys. Next we are going to go downwards by marking the points of our pattern. So you're going to place your tape measure and mark your bust line, guys. Go ahead and use your body measurements. Mine is 10 inches. The bust line is 10 inches. Go ahead and mark it right there. And then get your ruler and mark a straight line for the bust line. From the bust line, we are going to go ahead and mark our under bust line. In this case, mine is 13 inches as the under bust line. Go ahead and use your body measurements. Mark the under bust line, and after you connect it with the straight line. Next, you're going to go ahead and mark your waistline from that point. Go ahead and mark your waistline. In this case, mine is 17 inches. Again, please don't forget to use your body measurements or your client's body measurements. Mine was 17 inches. Go ahead and get your ruler and mark a straight line for that part as well. Moving on, we are going to mark our hip line. This is my favorite method of marking the hip line. I place my tape measure on the waistline and then I mark downwards to the hip line. You can use your favorite method. If you want, you can place your tape measure up there on the neckline where we started from, and then you mark your hip line. But this is my favorite. So guys, mark that hip line as well. And then we are going to move on and mark the full hem or full length of our dress. So from the waistline, you can go ahead and mark the full length of your dress. Mine was 16 inches, including the hem allowance, guys. So go ahead and mark it right there and then make a straight line for your full length of the dress. So for the purpose of this tutorial, I went ahead and labeled these lines. So this is the bust line, the under bust line, the waistline, guys. This is the waistline, and then our hip line, and then the last one is the full length of our dress. Next, we are going to mark the armhole of our dress. Place your tape measure on the bust line and then mark 1.5 inches from the bust line going upwards, and this will help us get our armhole point, guys. This can also be the chest line. Mark it 1.5 inches from the bust line and mark the line right there. Place your tape measure from the shoulder line going downwards to this new line you've just created, and then mark the middle part of that place, that point. Mark the middle of that, and then you can draw a straight line. I forgot that, sorry guys. Make a straight line between the shoulder line and the chest line, and then mark the middle part. Now go inwards by 1/2 inch. We are making the armhole, and then you're going to draw a curve from the shoulder line to that middle part that you've just made. And now you're going to divide your chest, your round bust measurement into 4. Round bust measurement into 4. What you get, mark it right there. Once you're done, you go ahead and mark a curve going downwards to that new point that you've just marked, connecting that like you see me doing. But guys, I made a mistake. My curve was a little bit straight, so I had to curve it. Remember, I'm using my hands, my free hand. If you have curved rulers, go ahead and use that. Next, we are going to go in by your nipple to nipple measurements divided by 2, and then mark it on the bust line, on the under bust line, the waistline, and on the hip line. Your nipple to nipple measurements divided by 2. Go ahead and mark it on these 4 lines. but at the hip line you're going to go upwards by 2 inches. You can also go upwards by 2.5 inches, but 2 inches is the best for me. So you go up by 2 inches, guys, and then you mark a simple line there. It doesn't have to go as long as these other lines are. So go up by 2 inches and then mark a line there. So your nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2, go ahead and mark it on that small line that you've just created. Then connect all those points with a straight line like you see me doing. For this, we are creating a dart for our dress. Now, from the bust line, you're going to go down by 1 inch. From the bust line, go downwards by 1 inch, and then on the waistline, you're going to go on the side by 0.5 inches and the other side as well by 0.5 inch. So then you're going to connect these points like you see me showing you guys. Go ahead and get your ruler and connect those points, the 1 inch downwards from the bust line, and then this 0.5 inch that you've just created on the waistline to create your dart. And then from this small line you created, go ahead and also connect those points at the waistline to this line that you just created down near the hip line, like you see me doing, guys. From the point that you marked at the armhole line, go ahead and go out by 2 inches. Go out by 2 inches, and 1 will be for allowance and then 1 inch will be for sewing allowance, guys. 1 for ease, 1 for sewing allowance, and that will be for the armhole, guys. So now we are going to go to the waistline. You're going to divide your round waist measurement by 4. What you get, you're going to mark what you get. Mine was 7.5 inches, guys. So what you get there, you're going to add 0.5 inch for ease of this dress. It's not tight, so you're going to add 0.5 inch to your quarter round waist measurement, and then you're going to add that dart. You measure your dart will be like 1 inch, and then you also mark it right there, and then you're also going to add 1 inch for sewing allowance, guys. Your round waist measurement divided by 4, add 0.5 inch for ease, 1 inch for the dart, and 1 inch for sewing allowance. I hope I'm clear, guys. Now go ahead and mark a straight line connecting the armhole line and then the waistline. On your hip line, you're going to divide your hip measurement divided by 4, add 0.5 inch for ease like you did on the waistline, and also add 1 inch for your sewing allowance. I hope I'm clear. Literally, you're adding 1.5 inches to your quarter round hip measurement. So now you're going to get your ruler and connect these 2 points from the waistline to the hip line. So guys, get your ruler and connect this, but I always emphasize our bodies are not straight, so we are going to curve out like you see me showing you right there. Just curve that line so that it doesn't be so sharp. And now the measurements you have at the hip line, you're going to go ahead and remeasure to be sure. Mine were 11 inches or 11.5 inches. So go ahead and mark it on your full hem line. Go ahead and mark the same inches you have on the hip line, mark them on the hem line, and connect it with a straight line right there, guys. We are going to make our side dart on this dress, so pay attention, guys. On your bust line, you're going to go downwards by 1 inch, and then you're going to connect that 1 inch to the point where you marked your nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2. Go ahead and make a straight line to connect those 2 points like you see me showing you, guys. I hope you're following. Please pay attention. And then you're going to mark 0.5 inch from each side, 0.5 inch from each side of that point, and then from the point in the middle, the nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2 there, go ahead and go outwards by 1.5 inches, and then after you make a dart to connect that point that you just marked. That is how you make your side dart. So now after getting that side dart, we have to replace it on the full hem of your dress, even if it's a top, guys. So you're going to mark that it's 1 inch for me. I don't know how much you marked, but you're going to go down to the full hem, the full length of your dress, and mark that 1 inch downwards, so that when you make a stitch for that dart, you are not going to have a shorter front part of your dress. So go ahead and mark it right there, and then you connect it like you see me doing, guys, to your dress. We are going back to the neckline of our dress. I want to show you the neckline of the front part. I wanted to show it to you. So you go ahead and place your tape measure at the neckline up there, and then you're going to mark 7.5 inches downwards like you see me doing, and then you go ahead and connect it with a ruler. It's going to be straight, so you go ahead and connect it with a ruler. If you want, you can curve it, or you can make any design of the neckline of for the front that you want. So the upper curve will be for the back, and this longer part will be for the front neckline, guys. Now for the shoulder, we are going to have a simple pleat, a small pleat on the shoulder. So you're going to mark the middle of your shoulder line, that one, and then we shall fold it to make a pleat at the shoulder. You can see the dress has a pleat. So we get our scissor and we cut out this draft pattern that we've just made, but we are cutting from the first neckline that we started with. That will be for the back pattern of our dress. So go ahead and cut it out, and please be careful. I had to be careful because my draft paper was really so light. So go ahead and cut it out, and we move on. So we are going to just trace this pattern that we've just cut out. You're going to place your draft pattern paper onto the other one, and then we are going to trace what we need, and then this will be the back part of our dress that we are tracing out. Go ahead and trace it like you see me doing, or you can go ahead and redraw for the back part of your dress, guys. Mine was light and transparent, so I had to just trace it, and for the purpose of this video, of this tutorial, I had to show while tracing. So guys, I went ahead and traced out the neckline, the shoulder line, the armhole, and then the sides. For the back part of our dress, we don't need the side dart, so you just go ahead and mark the external or outer parts of this draft. Go ahead and trace them out like you see me doing, guys. So now that you see that we have this other part of the dress, the middle part of this dress, I didn't cut out the neckline, and I didn't cut out the other part that I left out. That will be for the zipper allowance on our back part of the dress. Go ahead and mark it like you see me doing on the other side of the dress where my ruler is right now, and this other part, that other space behind, will be for the zipper allowance. So now go ahead and mark these other lines, the chest line, the bust line. You don't need to mark the under bust line because at the back we won't need it. You go ahead and mark the waist line, and also mark the hip line, and that will even that small line where our dart ends. So go ahead and mark those lines as well. You can as well go ahead and label them according to what they stand for: the chest line, the bust line, the under bust line, waist line, hip line, and then the full length of your dress. Go ahead and label them if you want to. If you can remember them, well and good. After tracing, you can go ahead and remove your front part of the pattern like you see me doing. Go ahead and remove it. Next, we are going to make the darts on our back pattern. So you're going to go ahead and mark your nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2, and then mark it on the bust line. The under bust line doesn't matter so much, so you go ahead and mark the waistline as well. And on the hip line, remember we went up by 2 inches. So guys, you're going to go up by 2 inches like we did on the front part. Go ahead and mark it right there. Mark a straight line, a simple one like we did on the front part of our dress. Go ahead and mark it right there. And then your nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2, mark it there, and then you mark a straight line. So even if you don't mark a straight line, it's okay, but the straight line is important for the guidance, guys. Go ahead and mark a straight line, and then after you're going to mark On the waistline, you're going to go outwards by half an inch on both sides, half an inch, and then after marking half an inch from there, you're going to connect those points straight to the bust line, guys, straight to the bust line, because at the back we don't need any breast allowance or bust allowance. So you go ahead and connect it, and then after there, you're going to make a dart downwards as well to the other small line that you created down there. Make a dart for the back pattern of our dress. So I went ahead and labeled my pattern the back because this is for the back and we shall have 2 pieces at the back. Moving on, we are going to get our zipper allowance, guys. So we are going to get this space that we left out. You're going to mark in 1 inch from the back part of your dress. You're going to mark in 1 inch because our zipper is going to have 1 inch for allowance, like we are giving it 1 inch allowance. So you're going to mark 1 inch and then you make a straight line downwards to connect those points that you just marked. Make a straight line. After that, I went ahead and labeled my zipper allowance. I wrote a word zipper there just so we can know that it's the zipper allowance, guys. So at the waistline, you're going to go inwards because now we are going to avoid the zipper bulge, guys. The zipper bulge, so that our zipper can be like perfectly placed on the back of our dress. Go inwards on the waistline, go inwards by half an inch, guys. So after marking that half an inch, you're going to connect it straight up to the neckline of the dress and then downwards to the hip line. Guys, watch how I'm doing it, follow my instructions. You will achieve the best zipper zipper placement without a zipper bulge at the back. Connect it to the neckline like you see me doing, and then downwards to the hip line. From the waistline, go outwards by 1 inch and then go ahead and connect it to the zipper allowance up there where it starts from, like we had planned. Remember, our zipper allowance was prepared for, like, we planned 1 inch for our zipper allowance, and then also go downwards from that point you just marked to the hip line to make the zipper allowance like you see me doing. Now I went ahead and cancelled out or crossed out this part that we don't need so that we can be able to see what we should cut for this back pattern of our dress. And after that, we are going to get our scissor and we cut out this part. And this is what we have for the front and back of these draft patterns. Moving on, this is the favorite part of this tutorial, and that is sewing of this dress. I'm going to be using this chocolate brown fabric and then the black lining, because on this channel we improvise and I had only black lining. So go ahead and fold your fabric into 2. And guys, I forgot to cut out the neckline and this part that we don't like from the front pattern. So go ahead and cut it off if you haven't cut it off. If you cut it off, very nice of you. That's so nice of you. Thank you for understanding. So go ahead and cut it off. With your fabric on fold, go ahead and place your front pattern, and then you're going to go ahead and pin it. And then after you cut it out, you also cut out the lining, you also cut out the back pattern of your fabric. So guys, go ahead and do as I do. I am going to make this faster so that we can have a shorter tutorial. So guys, remember on our front part of the draft, we added 1 inch for the dart allowance. For the side dart, we added it downwards on the lower part of the dress, and then so we are going to remove it from the back part of the dress. Go ahead and mark 1 inch from the full hem. Go ahead and mark 1 inch and then you cut it off so that our dress can be equal. Then go ahead and transfer the darts from the draft paper to the fabric and also to the linings of this dress. Go ahead and transfer them, and then you also don't forget to cut the lining half an inch or 1 inch shorter. 1 inch shorter or half an inch short. I made half an inch shorter, but you can also make it 1 inch shorter than your dress according to the full hem that you planned for your dress. I made mine half an inch shorter, the lining, both the front and the back, so that when you sew it, the lining won't be showing. Next, we are going to go over to the sewing machine and secure the darts. We are going to make a stitch to secure the darts on all parts of this dress, the back, the front, and the linings as well, plus the side darts. Go ahead and make stitches to secure the darts, guys. Please make sure your pieces look like this after securing the dart. Now go ahead and place your lining right sides facing each other onto the front piece of the fabric, right sides facing each other, and then you're going to go ahead and make a stitch downwards at the end of the dress. Make a stitch by 1/2 inch on your dress. Also on the back side, on the back pieces, go ahead and do the same. Place the linings right sides facing each other, and then on the lower side of the dress, lower part of the dress, go ahead and make a stitch to connect the lining to the parts of the dress. Go ahead and make it by 1/2 inch. I hope this is what you have, because this is exactly what you should be having. So now, like, we have connected the lining to the pieces, to the real pieces of our dress, you're going to go ahead and secure the upper part of the dress. Don't mind about these foldings, it's going to come out perfectly. So you're going to make a stitch on the neckline, and then the zip allowance, guys, going downwards from the neckline, going downwards to the zipper allowance, and also the armhole. Don't mind the shoulder line, leave it out. Just make a stitch on the armhole, the neckline, and the zipper allowance for both sides of the back part of the dress. And then you also do the same for the front part of the dress. So this is the other piece of the back part of the dress, the neckline, and then the zipper allowance and the armhole. For the front part of our dress, you're just going to make a stitch around the neckline, like you see me showing you the neckline, and then the armholes, and that will be all for this. You're going to do a stitch on the neckline and on the armhole, guys. After making the stitches, we are going to go ahead and make notches around where the parts that we've just stitched, the armhole, the neckline, and then the zipper allowance, and then we do the same for the front part of the dress. Make notches carefully, because here you have made like tiny stitches. You've used like 0.25 inches for the sewing of these parts. Go ahead and make simple notches so that we can unfold our pieces so well perfectly to the right sides. After that, you're going to go ahead and unfold your pieces to the right sides, and then after that you're going to give them a very good iron. Go ahead and you see that folding, that's why we cut the lining short, that's why we made it short, so that we can have this folding perfectly. I think it looks nice. So guys, you're going to go ahead and give them a very good iron. After ironing your pieces, you will see that it's perfect. Now on the shoulder line, we are going to measure the full length of the shoulder line, and then you're going to divide it by 2. Remember, this dress has a pleat or pleats on the shoulders. It has pleats on the shoulders. They are not darts, they are just pleats, just for decoration or design. So the middle, you're going to make like a dart-like design, 1/2 inch on the sides, and then you're going to fold it and make a stitch right there to secure that pleat. We are going to measure the middle of the shoulder line, and then you're going to mark 1/2 inch from like each side of that middle part, and then you're going to do the same for the other shoulder lines. Now in this case we have 4 sides, and then you're going to make pleats. You're going to secure them with a stitch, and then we move on to the next level. So we are going to first fix the zipper on our dress. So we are going to get our 2 back pieces, and then we place them together, right sides facing each other. We are going to mark where our zipper will end. That's the zipper I had. Since we are improvising on this channel, guys, I do not have invisible zippers. So guys, you're going to mark where your zipper will end, and then from there you're going to mark downwards, and then you go on and run a stitch by 0.75 inches. Remember, you made a stitch on the zipper allowance when you are connecting the lining, and we used 0.25 inches. So in this case, the zipper will have 0.75 inches. So when you get 0.75 inches plus 0.25 inches, you will have 1 inch. So guys, go ahead and mark it right there and make a stitch. And then after that, you're going to connect the zipper to your back part of the dress. And after that, after fixing the zipper on your dress, you're going to get your front part of the dress and you place it on the back part of the dress, right sides facing each other, and then you're going to secure to make a stitch on the shoulders. You connect the shoulders, and then you also connect from the armhole to the full length of your dress. Guys, make the stitches to connect the shoulders and then the sides of the dress, and that will be all for this tutorial, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, kindly subscribe, turn on a notification bell so you can always receive notifications whenever I upload new tutorials. And this is how the beautiful dress came out. I hope you love it, and I hope your dress came out so well. In case of any questions, kindly put it in the comment section, and I'll always be there to answer as always, guys. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.